So today I thought I would do something a little bit different. About to go and see part of the country in Yellowstone that I've never been to, and I imagine it's going to be very picturesque and take a lot of pictures. So I thought I'd do today's video sort of on that theme of pictures and sort of share my investment keys with simple pictures and sort of try to tell the story about what the picture means to me and hopefully what it means to you as well. However, we will have this one slide that we always go over and sort of talk about what my investment keys are. I'll try to share with you how each picture sort of drives me and sort of interrelates with the rest of them. I acknowledge that what I'm trying to put together isn't for everyone. And then finally, the multiple ways that I'm looking to help over 1,000 people. And if you're keeping track, the YouTube channel that you're watching this at currently has 101 subscribers. And as you remember, my goal for March 15th is to get over 1,000 people. So I have some more work to do. I have to create more valuable content and get a lot more subscribers. So if you can help me with that, that would be great. So let's get started. So this is the first picture. This is actually a picture I adopted on March 15th to sort of highlight how I felt, right? You sort of felt like we got to the top. If you don't know, it took 15 years of buy and hold real estate to get to this point. It took, a lot of critical decisions, and there were lots of ways we could have stopped along the way, with lots of ways we could have fell off the mountain, for heaven's sake, right? Having lived through the investment chaos of 07, 08, 09, and the collapse in 9, 10, 11. There's lots of ways we could have been hurt, if not kicked out of the real estate business. But alas, we finished. I actually wrote that book to sort of talk about all the points, and if you'd like a copy of that, it's free. Just an email. Email me, and I'll send it to you. I created it to share with people. But again, what this picture shows me is I've talked to a lot of people, and they all for the most part can sort of talk about this vision of where they want to be when they're done, right? Done being retired, and it's always something of living the life I've always dreamed of, being comfortable, all of that. It's not as, exact as I like when I advise people, but we all have the same desire, right? We want to live those final decades doing what we love, to do with the people we love to do, and travel and all those things, and it costs money. So everybody has this same goal of getting to some point and being, financially free, which is what this picture really meant to me. Being financially free and completing the journey is what this picture means to me. But we all live in this world, and these two pictures, one male, one female, just highlight the reality, right? It's chaotic, it's busy. It's to say that we have no time is a fact of life. All right, there's each of these pictures, I don't know how many different things they're highlighting, but it's probably dozens, and it's tough, right? And then you want to get to some final end game, and you have to buy, if you believe in real estate, you'd be buying rentals and holding for the long term, but you just don't have any time. So that's a problem. And I've seen this over the years. I remember a couple of instances a decade or so ago where an individual came to me and they had no time, but they had some cash. I don't remember what it was, but basically in one weekend they went down and saw, I don't know what it was, 5 or 6 properties and bought 3, and they thought they were done. That's not recommended, right? You can't learn a market. You can't figure it out. You're basically gambling. And sure, if you hold long term, it may work out, but I don't know anybody out there that could live financially free on 3 rentals, right? Even if they were all worked out to be great. You need to get a process in place. You need to have a plan for growth, and it just takes time. And when you don't have time, you sort of feel stuck. You can either go take action and hope, which is dangerous, or like a lot of people have done since we've went through a stock market collapse, a real estate collapse, they almost feel stuck, and they just keep doing what they're doing and keep the rat race going and keep putting money aside and frankly just hoping it all works out in the end. And if we learned anything in these these last couple of decades, things are going to change. Interest rates will go up, inflation will go up. That cash you have today will be worth a lot less in the future, and it's not going to be a good ending. You need to get something inflation protected, You need to get something with fixed debt on it. It's just, there are better ways. So again, it's reality. We're all very busy and busier than we've ever been probably. So I understand. The other thing that I think is very true, and I sort of highlighted here, is a lot of folks that I know in my network are suffering from what I call cash rich, asset poor, or crap. And frankly, they have more and more cash coming in, but it's just sitting there and it's not doing anything except depreciating. Some of them have amounts that are quite impressive, and others have amounts that are substantial. But neither of them are really in a place where that's going to be enough to get them to some happy ending like you saw in that first picture. Right? If you're lucky enough to be in a position where you have cash tucked away and you don't need it to live on day to day, it's more than just a rainy day fund, right? Your job is to find a way that you can leverage that to create more capital, whether that's buying rental properties, whether that's buying, whatever it is. Having cash just sit there to be cash is not a good idea, and that's really what I had this image done. It's really that feeling that sure, more and more cash coming in, it's just piling up, and it's not doing very good. So I really created this program with that in mind. Because people, again, right, they have this goal, they have no time, but they're suffering from this particular affliction, if you will. And then this is one of my big keys. It actually was, I think it was on video number 3 or 4. Whether you're going to be someone who's going to follow this and invest in another market. This picture is 2 keys for me. First, let's talk about no alligators. So what's an alligator? In reference to this, an alligator is a property that consumes cash every month, right? Maybe you're lucky to be in a situation where you have the extra income every month coming in, where you can afford to have a -$50 or a -$100 property, just to say that you own something. Maybe you do the math and you say, you know what, I can afford $1,000 negative a month and be okay. Let me be very clear. Never do that. That's not okay. If you have to have that piece of property, simply put more down so that the property is not negative, or what I call an alligator. Don't plan for alligators. Don't buy alligators. Don't refinance properties and create alligators. If you've read my book, you know that I did that very early on, and it was horrible. You never want to do that. Never buy and or create an alligator in your portfolio, because it will hurt you every month. It will consume cash. And cash is the thing you're trying to create, not create something that tears it away. So hopefully that's clear. An alligator is something that's consuming cash every month, even under the best of circumstances. And then the other thing about this picture is actually at the bottom. It's the one rental at a time. You don't get to the top of the mountain, as you saw in, I think, our first picture, with just one purchase. It just doesn't happen. You have to be under the mindset of one at a time. You have to get on a cadence. You have to be on a process where this little trickle turns into a stream that turns into something bigger. At least in my experience, it didn't really feel like this was working the first decade. Right, sure, we had some cash flow every month, but we were still in acquisition mode, so that cash flow went to repairs and fix-ups and maintenance and all that stuff. So just realize that it does take time. And again, you're in a situation where maybe that's okay, right? You still have a job, you're in your middle of your career, your high income years. You need to find a way to get on that path. Right? So what I've done, right, because again, I have time, I exited, I've designed this investment program really with 2 options. And again, I admit this isn't for everyone, and that's okay. I'm still giving away free advice, free information, answer every email. If you're going to start investing in real estate because of some of my videos, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. Just subscribe to the channel so I can record that I'm helping you, and best of luck. But for the folks that are in my network, my friends and family, if you will, I've developed a program that's going to be 2 options. And you can just do either option, left or right, or 1 or 2, or whatever you want to call it. But I see 2 things being happen. We'll take the one on the left. The first thing that I've realized is a lot of the people that I work that have cash want sort of 2 things when they talk to me. One is they want, obviously, a better return than the bank. That's kind of a no-brainer. 2, they don't want to be tied in for the long term. long-term being years, right? They just don't know, right? They'll move, they'll change jobs. There's lots of things that people who have a pile of cash might want it for later. They might want to upgrade their house or change zip codes or whatever. So they want to be short-term, right? And I'll call short-term a year or less, right? So a decent return. They want to be short-term, and the last thing is they want to control risk, right? Pick a number, double-digit return that's risky is not what they're looking for, right? So I've really realized that if, in order to create an investment program, I have to realize that any commitment has to be a year or less. The return is, I don't know, not the most important thing. The understanding the risk profile is, right? So create a program that's as low risk as possible, and then give them, the third option is a decent return. A lot of people that I've talked with think the return's the most important. I would tell you it's the least important of those three. So that's what I've done with this 6 and 20 program, right? You can see a couple of results where one hold period was 4 months, one was 3. I have acknowledged that if we're going to do multifamilies, it's probably going to be 6 months. If I do a bigger one, it could be 8 months. But everything we do together will be less than a year, right? So I got the short term. Risk, right? I've only ever asked the investors to come in at the purchase price. I absorb all the responsibilities for repairs. I absorb all the responsibilities for transaction costs. I don't ask for anything extra. I have the capital, so I'll use my own. And then when we sell it, obviously, there's the return that we split. Right? The investor will get 20%, and then I'll get the rest. So I think that investment program is working. There's, as I've highlighted earlier, there's over $1 million in private capital already working in that. We've actually had 2 properties exit with expectations that exceeded. So that's the left path. Then there's the right path. The other thing I've realized is there's a lot of people out there that want investment properties. But again, they don't have time. They're busy. They see it as, they're a believer. So what I'm doing is I'm actually, my whole program is only focused on producing rental properties that are fully repaired, leased at market, and sold at market, right? So I'm buying distressed assets. I'm buying properties that have problems, squatters, roof issues, trash, whatever it is, rented below market. And I'm using the capital from path 1 to create path 2. So, there's a couple of investors I'm already working with. This, I don't have time to buy a dump, fix it up, repair it, find all the contractors, all that nonsense. Just, let me know when you have something that's finished, and if I like it, I'll buy it. They like that. They have the whole team involved. All the repairs are done. It's leased at market. It's working out quite well, right? So that's what I'm doing, right? I'm not creating flips for owner occupants, right? It's a market that there's too much competition in, and if you know anything about me, I try to avoid a highly competitive environment like that. So what I'm doing is I'm creating investment products that will be owned by landlords. They will be leased at market, and they are things that I would have loved to have in the beginning of my career. So those are the 2 options, right? And if those don't work, and you just want to do something else, or you only want to own one, or you want to something else, no problem. My programs are not for you. So and that's okay. And again, I'll still create all the investor content and ideas and share what's going on, because again, I thoroughly enjoy helping people. So that's it. That's it in pictures. And again, do me a favor. We're at 101 subscribers on this YouTube channel, one rental at a time. Do me a favor and share this video on your Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you like, because we need to significantly increase that. The goal is 1,000 by the end of the year. So we have, what would that be, 899 left to go. If you'd like to get a hold of me, there's my email at the bottom, mzuber at one rental at a time. If you want to request the book, it's about 89 pages, I think. Just send it over, and I will email you back. All right, have a great day.